Welcome to Taking It to the Streets. I'm your host, Andy Goldman from sunny St. Pete, Florida. This is the show where we take it to the streets, knowing if we don't, the streets will take it to us. Welcome to Taking It to the Streets. It's Andy Goldman. This episode, of course, brought to you by Wrightwood Medical. Wrightwood, your leader in buying back old and refurbished medical equipment. They also sell refurbished medical equipment to you, all with warranty. Wrightwood can be reached www.wrightwoodmedical.com. That's with a W, or directly 773-848-7100. My buddy Mike McLaughlin joins me. It's been a journey. It's been a quest. Mike has had a superb season. By anyone's estimations, he's 59% against the spread as we go into the final week. Mike, you would have taken that in a heartbeat. I would have taken that at the beginning. And we've given you folks, we've given you some good insight. We're not right every single time. Of course, I'm only 49%, but the things we've given you, it's full disclosure. Nothing else to take it to the street. You get full transparency. So as sickening as it is that I'm 49%, I'm 24-25 for the year. A couple pushes in there that we don't register. Mike is 30-21 for the year. But where we were solid, Mike, looking back at it, is there was some good intel, at least on my side, on Jacksonville, on Detroit. I was very super long on Jacksonville. At this point, I can't believe how well they're playing. It's almost mind-boggling because in today's landscape of where we're heading now with the playoffs, they're as good as anybody.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because, and when you compare them with Detroit, you can look at the rise of Chicago and the fall of Detroit as easily as you could look at the rise of Jacksonville and the fall of Tampa. I mean, Tampa's offense in the they were kind of smoke and mirrors in the first 5 weeks, but they are 1-8 since the bye. I mean, they are a complete shell of themselves. And unfortunately, it's not just the offense that's been awful. Their defense is maybe as bad as, some of the teams we've been talking about during the year, the Bengals and the Cowboys. I mean, their defense could not stop anybody. Right. So it's funny that with Jacksonville's ascent as well as Chicago's ascent, you've seen the descent of Detroit and Tampa, where the coordinators were lost from both those teams.
But Mike, I'll tell you, there was nothing less impressive than watching the Bears in San Francisco the other night. And if that is the top shelf of the NFC, then I beg to differ with you. And I thought about this when I was watching that whole folly. When you have two teams that are completely challenged on defense, of course.
You're acknowledging San Francisco is not that good, also, right?
Well, no, I'm just in love with
that was a Madden football game. I mean, that's
right. I'm just in love with Shanahan and Lynch and the players they get and how deep they are. And my takeaway from that game was it was far and away more dominant by San Francisco than Chicago. Kittle's not out there. Trent Williams goes out in the first series of the game. We all know the litany of other injuries that San Francisco is dealing with. It's not close. Now, Shanahan is not your gym teacher head coach. They immediately got out of the run game. They knew they were going to be able to run on the Bears. There's no doubt the Bears don't stop the run. And they went into this heavy pass attack, and they got out there. They got out with the win. So
I gotta push back against something because you've been poo-pooing like New England. You're saying New England doesn't deserve any credit because they've had the easiest schedule.
Yeah.
What is San Francisco's schedule? They have the 5th easiest schedule. So
they've had a ton of injury. They've had a ton of injury.
But hold on. You don't get to do it both ways. You've been saying injuries happen to every single team, and the injuries, but they have an easy schedule. They were projected to win 10.5 games this year based exclusively on their schedule at the beginning of the year. Every single person that was predicting San Francisco to win was because they were playing a 4th place schedule or a 3rd place schedule from last year. They are, I don't think San Francisco is the class of the NFC because Chicago, for all the negative things you want to say about them, they were on the road. That was in San Francisco, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they were on the road they went punch for punch with them and blew it at the last minute. I mean, which is what a young team is going to do. So I was much more. I mean, I think that's a huge growing opportunity for Chicago, more so than it was like a crowning moment for San Francisco, in my opinion. I think San Francisco's defense is a huge problem, and I think their special teams are just as bad, but they're able to score against anybody. Defenses start to matter in the playoffs much more than they do in the regular season. In the regular season, you can score points. It'll get nut cutting time come, January. And I think San Francisco and Chicago are much closer than the top tier teams like the Rams. And I know the Rams have lost to, but I still think the Rams are the class.
Well,
Personally.
okay, that's fine. I couldn't help but watch the Bears and the Niners, was what I was trying to say, and say to myself, of course it won't happen. I'm taking it to the streets, but it's going to be on every other outlet that anybody's watching this will hear it from, that Carolina and Tampa are done. You just alluded to it. And I don't see it that way at all, one bit, one iota. There's a couple of different fronts that I love the spot for both of those teams, whoever is the team that finds the finish line. I'm a sucker for a team that faces major adversity and survives to the finish line. Okay? Once again, horse racing, folks. The horse that had trouble, the horse that got blocked at both turns, and somehow, some way, got to the winner's circle. I am a sucker for that horse moving forward. That will be Carolina or Tampa. And if the road is going to be going through Chicago or San Francisco, don't look at me with a straight face and say that Tampa and Carolina can't match up with those teams, because they're going to move the ball at will on either of those teams. Now we move to the Rams. The must-win Rams from last night march into the Mercedes-Benz Dome, allow their stock 27 on the road to Atlanta. Mike, it's just my point. Their silence is deafening, Tampa's and Carolina's.
Why was the Rams game a must win? They're either going to be in 5 or 6. I think that was actually a very easy game. I mean, I bet on the Falcons last night outright.
Yeah.
Because once I saw that, I mean, if there's one thing McVay has shown throughout the course of his career, he'll rest guys. I mean, he knows this is not a team that's afraid to go on the road. They realize that, I mean, an LA home game in the playoffs is not necessarily a home game. So they're not afraid to go on the road. They rested last year when they had a chance to get like the 3rd seed and said, screw it, we don't care. We'll take the 4th seed just as long as we can keep our guys healthy.
Mike,
so I don't think it was a must win for the Rams.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just telling you, as I told you about Jacksonville early in the year, winner of Carolina, Tampa is going to make a move. They have faced the adversity. They've been blocked at both turns in the race. They've both gotten here, whether you like it or not. It's just a feeling I've gotten. You want to lay your eggs in the regular season. You don't want to do it like what Detroit did in the playoffs last year. Tampa and Carolina have laid, obviously Tampa I think has laid more eggs, but for whatever reason, whether you like Tampa or not, they are here. They're in the spot, and moving forward, when the slate gets washed away clean, come to playoffs, I'm just assuming, playing it forward, that they could win against Carolina. I think they're live.
Here, let me give, since I never give racing analogies, what do they do to a horse once its leg breaks on the track? Because that's what's going to happen to Carolina or Tampa. They're putting those two dogs down. Both these teams do not belong in the playoffs, and I do not want Tampa in the playoffs to get embarrassed. They are. This is a team.
They won't get embarrassed with this crowd, Mike.
They are bad at literally every level of the game. They're bad on offense. They're terrible on defense. Their special teams has not stopped. They kick the ball. They're like the only team now in the league that kicks it into the end zone because their kickoff team is so bad. They've had multiple block punts. I mean, Carolina not being able to beat this team should be there should be like the NFL should have to step in and say, look, we got to let somebody else in. We got to let one of these bad AFC teams in just to take away, because neither one of these two teams deserves it. An 8-9 team does not deserve to be. I understand what the rules are. They certainly don't deserve a home game, but one of these horses getting put down on the track. I do not
disagree. I don't think this is going to be Barty.
You can't give me enough points in the playoffs against either one of these teams, but that's where we'll disagree.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for the winner of that game. Just sticks out to me because the silence is deafening, and I can't blame your emotion. I feel the same way about the Bears. Watch way too many decades of Bears football. You've watched many decades of the Bucs. It's frustrating because the Bucs the last 2 months have been bad. There's no
1-8. They're 1-8.
There's no way of sugarcoating it. Yeah, there's no way of sugarcoating it other than to say, if you're on my line of logic, which you're not, that's fine. Then you like a team that's dealt with the adversity and somehow has put themselves in a position. It is what it is. They put themselves in a position. It's more than Detroit's done. It's more than Minnesota's done. It's more than Atlanta's done. It's more than Dallas has done. These are goners weeks ago. Nope. So that there is a silver lining, I think, argument for both of those teams. I think it's just, Mike, that there's so much parity. I mean, give me a break. Last week, the Vikings over the Lions. Can we put this one to bed the rest with the they don't need the game argument? Vikings over the Lions. These are outrights. These aren't with the spread, folks. Browns over the Steelers, Dolphins over the Bucs, Falcons over the Rams. Right, Rams don't need the game. I understand that. That's just a 1A to what I said. The other ones absolutely needed the game. There's nothing. Bucs couldn't have needed the game more than against the Dolphins and figured out a way to lose it. Now, I'm fascinated by that argument of the they don't need the game argument, okay? Which some people and news outlets try to implore upon us, okay? Like I said, league minimum is $865,000. If you're on a losing team, you're probably worried whether or not you're looking for work next season, okay? You're not on a solidified, you got the job next year kind of thing, okay? That's 865 will be league minimum. 53rd man on the team makes $865,000. What do you think a playoff team makes as a spiff? You have any idea, Mike? What each guy makes?
Would probably
make hamburger money. Okay, they make $54,000 if they get to the first round of the playoffs per man. That's hamburger money in a league where there's an $865,000 minimum wage. Okay, if they get to the divisional round, they make same $54,000 a man. If they get to the conference championship, they bump it up. They make $77,000. If they get to the Super Bowl, winning team, each guy walks away with $171,000. Losing team, each guy walks away with $96,000. That's peanuts compared to playing on a 3-13 Jets team and worried about your $865,000 minimum. And that's the reason why you're seeing these teams, and it's in the 60% now, Mike. It's like 63% where these teams are beating teams that still have something to play for when they, quote, don't have something. And I would just emphatically disagree with they don't have anything to play for. It's getting proven week in and week out that somebody knows something about the financial piece, and these players are playing. They don't want plan B in their life. So
yeah, I mean, players don't quit on games. General managers tank, not coaches, not players. General managers are in charge of it. So, for instance, with the Raiders benched their starting tight end. Who's their best player on offense?
Yeah.
Brock Bowers. Who was benched? Brock Bowers. Who's their best defensive player? Max Crosby. Neither one of those guys is hurt. They were benched. They did that. That was done not by Pete Carroll because he's, chewing gum and thinking about 9/11 conspiracy theories, but that was done. GMs tank. Coaches don't tank, players don't tank, but you still can tank in the NFL. It's harder to do than like the NBA because there's only 5 players on the court, but you can do it. You can't tell me.
Yeah, but it's not in your best interest to tank.
It is in your best interest to tank theoretically if you're a team like the Raiders who probably isn't capable of beating the Giants, but why are we taking any risk in beating them when we would have the ability to control the number 1 pick and get a potentially game-altering quarterback? Because they don't have a game-altering quarterback in Geno Smith. I know you've been on how all the second-string quarterbacks are just as good as the basic one. your boy in Arizona has not won a game, has won one game. He's as bad as the Bucs. He's putting up amazing numbers and they lose. And even more damning is that they've won one of 8 games and nobody in Arizona is crying for Kyler Murray. That guy may not have a job next year. That's the crazy thing. Like Kyler Murray is potentially returning to baseball next year because
Wow.
I don't know who wants him. In a league,
there's no market. There's no market.
Well, there's always a market if you think you can play, but you've got a guy who is a malcontent. I think he's never been a team guy.
But it's a Justin Fields market, is what I'm trying to say, which was there was no market.
And Justin Fields' market last year was probably the last you'll ever see of that market. I mean, that it's looking like a catastrophic mistake by the Jets to have guaranteed that guy $20 million a year.
Yeah.
And but it'll like I don't know where Kyler Murray goes. He will not be in Arizona next year. They're cutting him. They're eating it. Tua is probably never going to play for the Dolphins again. And and there's not enough good quarterbacks. I mean, we got potentially 2 quarterbacks coming with Mendoza and the kid from Oregon, maybe if he comes out. And I don't think either one of those guys is elite at all. So, I mean, it's and the coaching with everybody's talking about firing coaches. If you hired a coach this year, thank your stars because you knocked it out of the park. Name a bad coach hire other than
it was a great year.
Other than Pete Carroll, and who everybody was like, that's the best hire. Pete Carroll's secretly going to make this team good.
Yeah.
Ken Johnson, home run. Liam Cohen, home run. Vrabel, home run. Was there any other ones?
Well, Callahan. There's your bomb. There's your bomb.
He was 2 years ago, Callahan.
Yeah, and actually, Mike McCoy has been great in replacement of him this season. You could throw him in the book. He's been great.
Great what, for covering?
Well, no, I mean, Tennessee has been a different team with him versus Callahan. They've been better.
They've won one extra game. But
it's been a step forward.
But Callahan wasn't one of the coaches that was hired. This year,
he was a second-year guy.
The one guy who I think teams should be clamoring for, who I don't think they will be clamoring for because of his lawsuit against the NFL, is Brian Flores. He made Minnesota's defense make Jared Goff look like a clown.
Well, Schottenheimer would be the dud from this class.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, you look at that offense in the last. I mean, do you trust Sam Darnold when it counts at the end of a game? I mean, that Carolina game was 3-3. Carolina sucks. I mean, I'm not bitter or spilled milk. Carolina just stinks. I mean, they had 54 yards passing on 24 attempts. That is like something you would expect in a girls' flag football game. That is so bad that and you keep saying that Chicago and Carolina are similar. The kid from Chicago is so much better, and you have to please acknowledge.
Well, Mike.
Oh no, Bryce Young sucks.
Okay.
If you have eyeballs and you watch Bryce Young, and you have eyeballs and you watch Caleb from Chicago, there's no comparison.
Well,
there is one of them has elite talent, one of them has no talent. 4 yards.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Caleb Williams has got a 58% completion rate.
I don't care.
I do.
48 points.
Yeah, I do.
Put up 42 points.
Yeah, that wasn't because of him, Mike. That wasn't because of him.
All right, 35 points.
Yeah, but that's not because of him. There's a pick six in there.
He didn't throw some dimes in that game. He didn't throw.
He's a 58.
He's a burgeoning star.
Yeah, he's a 58% completion rate, and he might not get a second deal over it.
I mean, I cannot. I mean, are you? I think you're like the kind of Chicago fan that wants them to build it in Indiana. You're so negative about the Bears. I mean, they deserve credit. They have played the hardest last 6 games of the year, and I think they're 4-2 in those games. Are they not? Their last 6 games against quality opponents. We kind of poo-pooed who they were at the beginning of the year because they were like winning kind of funny, but they were learning how to win. In the last 6 games, they've gone 4-2 and been competitive in every single game against the best quality opponents that the NFC has to offer. And it's like
they got a quarterback that's got a 58% completion rate.
My God, Tyler Bagent is awesome. I mean, that's what you
I
want
didn't
to hear.
say that. I just said their quarterback has a 58% completion rate. They allow a ton of points on defense, and not for me. That's just not.
And they are 11-5. I'd kill
That's
to be
fine.
11-5.
Yeah,
I'd
you
kill to
know,
be
you know, you know how
11-5.
many games came down to a stroke of God swooping onto the field and of the 11 wins?
Listen, isn't that what the Blues Brothers is all about?
Yeah, exactly. But not the Chicago Bears.
They're on a mission from God. That's what we're
That's-
here for. We're on a mission. Let's get ourselves some orange
Yeah.
wraps, orange whips, and fucking take this thing to San Francisco because at some point you're going to believe in the Bears. Even if they don't win the Super Bowl, they're a damn good team. They're 11-5. You don't win 11 in games by accident in the NFL. You just don't do it.
Like I said,
I mean, literally, I may run for mayor of Chicago, and then you will just your face will be the campaign that I am against this guy. That's what my campaign. The most negative Chicago person in the world from Chicago, is what my campaign is. I'm not Andy. I love Chicago. I mean, they're a good team. You got to give them credit. What is it going to take? If they win a playoff game, will you give them credit?
it just depends. I'm not a fan of this team, of what they've got. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'll stand by it.
When's the last time you won a playoff? Chicago. I have no idea. It's been a while, right?
They won, or no, I was going to say they won with Nagy and Trubisky, but
I forgot.
that was when they had the double dink off the goalpost against Philadelphia, and they lost.
But don't you mean Saint Trubisky, the patron saint of all-pro quarterbacks, Saint Trubisky?
Hasn't been one since.
This team is winning. I think they can win a playoff game, and if they win a playoff game, they have a chip in the chair. You can't tell me you feel better about Tampa or Carolina in the playoffs than you do about Chicago.
Why not?
Because
can't I tell you that?
Because you have eyeballs and you watch games. I would say you and I'm not talking about numbers. I'm talking about winning games. I'm talking about actually winning games. What about Tampa as in the last 9 weeks can you point to that says this is a well-coached team that is trying hard, that is executing well, that
I couldn't. I'm holding on to the fact that they've tasted adversity and they're here. That's my argument. Yeah. It's not in the last 9 weeks. And you could, exactly. It almost feels like a mission from God for Tampa or Carolina, because they're both playing so poorly that the Bears are winning with God on their side. They're not losing. So it's a totally different thing.
And is Sister Jean involved? Is that what we're doing? We got Sister Jean from the University of Illinois
from Loyola,
Chicago. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I do not. I have no belief in Carolina. I have no belief in Tampa. I have no belief in. I guess Atlanta technically can get in, maybe if they tie, but I know Tampa doesn't even control their destiny anymore because they couldn't beat Miami. So,
we're gonna go on their picks. I kind of like the home game that Carolina and Tampa are gonna get. I like the negativity that they've been experiencing, that they deserve, both those teams. And that's it. I think the Bears.
I get it.
Yeah, I just like that spot for them. I just do.
I got the motion from property in Cleveland too that I want to sell you if you believe in that. So
okay, well, hey, we'll see. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Our Mike is 59%. He's 30-21. It's been great. He will win. Congratulations, Mike. There's no chance. You've got me. I've got the same numbers that I had.
Did I beat Colin?
What's that?
I beat Colin?
I didn't track Colin this year, but there's absolutely no way he's sniffing 60%. So there's no way. And that's what Mike's playing for this weekend. Is Mike's got a chance to etch his name into the streets, literally, here on Taking It to the Streets, and get that thing to 60%, which would be absolutely awesome. What am I playing for? I'm playing for, being close to juice-free, no blood, which I think the golden number, Mike, with juice was about 52.5%. And I'm 24-25 right now. So we're both playing for something. We are both playing for something. It's not like, again, and we'll keep
I'm playing for the $865,000 that you're paying me to do this.
right.
Oh, no, that's the NFL.
Exactly. So lead us off, Mike. Let us know where where you heading with the first pick.
Okay, I'm covering my face because I've made a liar of myself before. I will make a liar of myself again. I will not acknowledge that this team exists. I'm not picking them to win. I am literally picking the Bucs to lose. Okay, so whomever the Bucs are playing, I will not acknowledge.
I like that. That's great.
I won't acknowledge that they're, but whoever the Bucs are playing is getting 1.5.
I like it.
Which is insane that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can be favored against any team in the league. They have been incompetent at every turn. Baker is either hurt or we need to find a way to return him to Cleveland. Like drop him off at a Cleveland fire station and say, "Hey, you guys, we found this. But it turns out his collar. We saw a dog collar on there. We'd like to return him because he is." I mean, they have not had an explosive play downfield. He does not throw the ball downfield anymore. We have healthy wide receivers, and they are executing nothing on offense. I think the brain drain is real. If you look at from Canales to
Liam
to Cohen, they have this guy Grizzard who kind of did well in the beginning.
And Campbell.
Yep, it's the exact same thing. I mean, there is such a thing as a brain drain, and Todd Bowles' defense, that's what he's known for. He's scheming up defenses. Quinn Ewers looked like he was playing against a Big 12 team on Sunday. That they went up and down the field. I don't even want to say they quit on him. I don't think they can. They don't think they believe in themselves. They're not good. They're bad at every position. They need help at every level of the defense. They need defensive line. They need middle linebackers. Lavonte David, as much as I've loved him, has aged in dog years this season.
Bobby Wagner 2.0.
Yeah, exactly. I've been calling out Bobby Wagner all year. This is the same thing. Load up. I mean, Tommy Tremble is going to have a big day against Tampa. He's their tight end out of Notre Dame. I'm taking the Bucs to lose, and whoever they are playing is getting 1.5 points. So I'm taking
getting 2.5, Mike. Getting 2.5.
Whatever that team is.
You're getting 2.5. Yes.
I'll take it. I don't even need the points. They're losing. They are putting this team. This horse is being shot on the track. I'm rooting for that, but that's my pick. I'm taking whomever the Bucs are playing.
Right.
Plus 2.5. Whomever that team is. I don't know that they exist or what their colors are.
And you think that I have an anti-narrative about my hometown, and you don't think you have an anti-hometown narrative towards your home team of Tampa Bay Bucs. And I think that yours is
a little more justified, 1-8.
No. Yours is justified without a question. Your vehemence is justified, especially the way Tampa got out of the blocks so strongly in the first 6 weeks. This has been a train wreck. I totally get where you're coming from. I'm on the other side. I believe it's always darkest before the dawn, and it can't get any darker than what it's been for Tampa. It can't get any darker for the way Mayfield's played. He's been horrible. He's been like Caleb Williams. Again, there's a false narrative, Mike, on Caleb Williams. He does have a 58% completion rate. He has not been good. It's just the Bears have been winning. Tampa's been losing. And Caleb's had some Kodak moments that, like against Green Bay, and he had some great throws the other night. But in general, he's 58%. He's not a guy out there throwing at a 85% completion rate. So it's been bad. I think we get a bottom here with Tampa. Obviously, we can't get more of a bottom. I am inclined, like I said, to think it's always darkest before the dawn. It's a now or never. There will be jobs on the line with this team. And I think Todd's job is at risk here. I think
absolutely.
I think there's some meat on the bone. These guys we're going to get to see. And over I look at it, Mike, as a composite. I've watched Tampa from afar the last few years. They have wanted, in general, to play for bowls. There's thoughts that go through my mind, like when Kansas City was Kansas City last year on that Monday nighter in the rain when Bulls was too scared to go for the 2-point conversion at the end. But they played for him. They played for him in the playoffs. Okay. There's been more times in my brain that I can remember them playing for Bulls than what we've seen over the last 2 months. So long-winded answer. I'm going to be on the other side. I'm going to take Tampa -2.5. Like
just music to my ears, because then I can finally wrap up the head-to-heads too.
Okay.
And watch this thing burn in. Do you think, speaking of Caleb, do you think he's getting 270 this week to go to 4,000? They think that will be a push. Should I be monitoring that as he's just under 4,000 yards?
I'm not, I am not the guy to give a good opinion. I'm going to take the fit there. I'm not a props guy. So
you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I know you're saying. They're playing against Detroit. It obviously looks like
Detroit's DBs are just
on paper, I'd say yes, but my gut says no.
All right. Well, so I'm correlating my picks this week because if I'm going to go down, I want to go down in bloody glory. So I'm going to take the Saints +3.5 against the Falcons. My thought process behind doing this is once the Bucs are eliminated, the Falcons don't have anything to play for. I know you don't believe in that, but the Falcons can just literally just play spoiler and screw over the Bucs. If they end up winning and the Bucs win, then I think the Panthers get in somehow. I don't. Tampa doesn't control their own destiny. Carolina is sort of in the catbird seat because the Falcons are at home. But I just think the Saints, who I have dogged from the beginning of the year, I've dogged their quarterback. I thought he hasn't been good. They're not looking for a quarterback in the offseason. I mean, they're going to get a veteran to back him up, although he's 27, so he's already as old as most aged veterans. So, I mean, I think the Saints may have their guy. I think Kellen Moore has underrated in another year in any other NFL season. You could be looking at him as a legitimate coach of the year for what he's done down the stretch. I mean, that is a team that looked hopeless, that you could have convinced me at the beginning of the year would have been vying for the first pick overall. They have turned it around in every way. They play tough.
Definitely.
Run the
totally
ball
agree.
well.
They've been great.
Their defense is old. I mean, the biggest problem for the Saints is that they now have the perfect opportunity with Shuck on a rookie contract to shed contracts. They have been pushing the money forward for all these years, trying to be kind of mediocre, and they've got to just shed. They got to get their cap in place. And I don't know that Mickey Loomis is the guy to do that. They probably should be contemplating getting rid of it, but I would be more hopeful as a Saints fan than I am as a Bucs fan, than I would be as a Falcons fan, than I would be as a Panthers fan. I think this team is the sleeping giant in a shitty conference, pardon my French, bad conference or division in the NFC South. So I think I'm taking the Saints. You give me the hook, 3.5. I don't like taking I don't like this, and this is always sort of these two teams hate each other, and the Saints fans travel and the Falcons fans travel. So, I mean, this is always this is a big game, and it being in Atlanta is, especially because it will be like right after New Year's, I think you're going to get like a ton of Saints fans at this game because they really, the one thing they do like is going to Atlanta, and these two teams despise each other even more so than the Bucs hate the Saints or that I hate the Saints. These two teams hate each other. So I'm taking 3.5 with the Saints.
This episode of Taking It to the Streets is brought to you by Wrightwood Medical, the leader in used and refurbished medical equipment. Wrightwood specializes in ultrasound equipment, but can also be your vendor of choice when sourcing lower cost alternatives for your operating room suites, scanning the entire medical spectrum. From single physician offices to larger hospitals, Wrightwood is the lower cost solution for your everyday medical equipment needs, and all of Wrightwood's equipment comes with warranty. You can reach Wrightwood directly at www.wrightwoodmedical.com. That is with a W, WRIGHTWOOD medical, or 773-848-7100. Again, 773-848-7100. If it's used medical equipment, it's Wrightwood Medical. I will take 6.5 with Green Bay. It is nothing other than loving the line. I think I've seen some places out there that are at 5.5 with Minnesota, and I know that Green Bay's hurt and Green Bay is pretty much solidified as far as where they're going in the playoffs, but I am a believer that guys are out there playing. It's not like reflective like the Buffalo Jets game where it's clearly guys are going to be sitting. That's why it's all the way down to 7, opened up at 13.5. This is different. This is, Vegas does their homework better than anybody on earth. Let's just say that one more time. Vegas does their homework better than anybody else. So they've done the vetting for you. That the line tells you that, yeah, Willis probably is the starter. Jacobs is probably out. And I know I'm missing more, others as well. And then you get to halftime. If Green Bay is down 14, now what? Because you're really locked into that 7 hole, more than likely playing the Bears in the first round of the playoffs. What are you going to do? So this is not a brimming with confidence play, but we're at that part of the juncture, folks, where you have to take a little bit of a leap of faith. Mike and I talked about it actually before we hit the record button, that this is the quintessential game. I'll take the 6.5 with Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, and like this, the Vikings won last week. I'm not complaining about my picks from last week. Like I evaluated the Buffalo game correctly and lost. I think Buffalo should have won that game going away, especially when you look at what they did. I evaluated the Texans game completely wrong. I didn't think they should have won, and I won. So that's what a lot of this is, up and down.
Right.
The Lions game, I don't think I necessarily evaluated it wrong because their quarterback threw for 51 yards. So I agree with you. That Brosmer, I mean, winning a game where a quarterback throws for 51 yards should not happen in the NFL. I mean, you get 6 turnovers, you should win. And that has everything to do.
How did KC cover against the Broncos with Olajuwon throwing for probably 90 yards?
I mean,
I don't even think Olajuwon threw for 90 yards. I think they had about 100 yards total offense Kansas City in that game.
No, and
how did they cover?
I know, and I didn't think we'd hear again from him since he got drafted by the Clippers. Michael
Olowokandi.
I mean, I'm like, I've watched college football. I have a pretty good idea. I'm like, where?
I like that.
Where the hell
Olowokandi?
So yeah, I agree. I mean, the Malik Willis is getting a starting job next year. I mean, he's going to be, he'll get a Justin Fields like job. I mean, I think he's showing again what we had talked about, like what Jameis Winston should do. Go learn under the foot of a master, like a McVay. Like LaFleur is from that tree.
Totally understand.
Malik Willis was unplayable when he was in Tennessee, and he looked great.
It's almost going to be called the Jacoby Brissett amendment or the Jacoby Brissett commandment. You can't build your future around Jacoby Brissett because of his age and wear and tear and where he's at in his career and all that kind of stuff. But you can look at what he did as a GM and say, you know what? Malik Willis is probably 8 years younger, at least, than Jacoby Brissett, has a lot less wear and tear, hasn't been a starter in the league. Why not? Yeah, you're right.
And it has a lot to do with the coaching you're getting. I mean, that's what's like the really good quarterback coaches are few and far between. The guy from Minnesota, Sean McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan. That if I'm Anthony
Kellen Moore.
Richardson,
Kellen
if
Moore.
if I'm Anthony Richardson's agent, I don't want an opportunity to start next year. I want an opportunity to go into that system. I want to learn from one of these guys so that I can make a career for myself and make real money. Mac Jones is going to get paid this offseason. So, I mean,
I don't know about that. I never thought about that. That's interesting.
Somebody's trading for him. He's got a 2-year deal. Somebody will trade for him, in my opinion. So
I am one to not like that because I think that he gets flattered with Kyle's system. I think I can put Mitch Trubisky in Kyle's system and get numbers. So that's just me. I would.
St. Mitch is starting this week, isn't he?
Probably. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I would depreciate's a better word. I would depreciate Mac Jones, even though I know in the middle of the season, that big win they had against LA on the Thursday night game. I want to like him again. It's just my gut would say no. And he's a guy with a lot of hard hits and wear and tear, even though he hasn't been in the league. I mean, he came in the same draft, I want to say, as Justin Fields. So what is that? That's 5 years. I mean,
well, he's Trevor Lawrence's class too. I mean, but he's a red ass, and that's probably the worst quality about him is he doesn't necessarily seem like the greatest leader, but he's even seemed to have made strides in that. I mean, if you remember in the beginning of his career in New England, he was kind of a dirty player. He would go cleats up on guys. He punched a guy in the nuts. I mean, he was kind of immature and tried to show he was better than he is. And I think he's been humbled. And I think that somebody's going to trade for him. And a team like Cleveland, who is a mediocre quarterback away from dominating the AFC North, would make sense. But that also factors in who's going to take that job, because I think Stefanski's probably gone. But, I just think there are better quarterbacks out there. All right. Well, I do want to say to everybody out there, this is a week. If you were considering not betting, I would tell you not to bet this week unless it's a meaningful game and you have a good feeling.
Yeah.
But which is why I say that before I take my last pick, because it is an insane pick and I'm taking it exclusively against Trey Lance. So I'm taking the Broncos minus 12.5 against the Chargers. They are benching Herbert. I think Herbert has a potentially legitimate. You may legitimately hear buzz after this game about how Herbert deserves MVP considerations because of how much he has carried this team.
Mm-hmm.
This team has started. They're on their 6th and 7th string left tackle.
Yep.
I love Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is a super weirdo. I think he's just uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to have a beer with him, but if he was my head coach, I would love him. I think he's a great schemer. I think he will get this team ready to play. I just don't trust Trey Lance to be able to accomplish anything against this Broncos defense. The Chargers are resting this week. I mean, that I did look that up before. That was the one thing I knew, and that's why the line shot up. It would not normally be
no.
But they have legitimately something to play for, and Sean Payton will make sure, because all these games are at 4:00 too. I don't know if you saw the AFC window. Any meaningful game in the AFC starts at 4:25. We're actually getting a good red zone in the second hour. So I'm taking the Broncos. It's really just a bet against Trey Lance and DJ Uiagalelei, who may be their second string, who's a terrible quarterback out of Florida State, Oregon, and Clemson. So I just don't think that they're going to be able to do enough. And I think you're going to, like I said, you'll hear buzz about how Justin Herbert has made this team look remotely competent, and you're going to see how important he is to their success. So I'm just taking him, taking the Broncos minus 12.5 based exclusively on who's starting quarterback at the Chargers, because I think the drop off is enormous.
Got you. I will conclude, folks, with San Francisco plus 1.5 against Seattle. Here we are. That
Got to ride the horse you came in on.
Well, yeah, I love the spot a week ago where we're getting Kyle against Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's got to win a big game before I'm going to ever back him against Kyle Shanahan, and I feel the same way about Mike McDonald. This is a pedigreed kind of thing. This thing opened up at San Francisco -1, 1.5. Now it's +1.5. Got news for you folks. Vegas isn't off by 3 points on the final week of the season in a game that matters. Okay? Especially when Kyle Shanahan's involved. So I don't like, I normally I would think that that's really sharp money, and I'm sure it probably is. They came in on Seattle, but I'll be a square, I guess, and take the 1.5 with San Francisco. I think I get the better coach, and I know that the defense obviously looked terrific against the Bears, but I look for a bounce back effort off of that terrible one. Simple as that. It was a terrible effort against the Bears. Yes, they're hurt, but like Mike says, can't have it both ways. Everybody's hurt. I mean, look at the team he just referenced, the Chargers. Alt, Slater, and they go out. Wasn't Hampton a first rounder that they took at running back? I mean, it's just been a blood. Yeah, he's back, but he's missed the whole season.
Yeah, and they had the guard from who was the tackle from the Jets, the big guy.
Was it Becton?
Becton.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. I mean,
yeah, no, it's been unbelievable. I feel like as we make our kind of concluding comments for the year before we head on to the playoffs, if not for, okay, Mike, if not for, the two teams that stick out to me that would be in such better place, if not for, would be the Chargers and the Niners. Those are the two teams that I feel have been unbelievably destroyed by injury. Yes, injury is a variable for all teams, but they've had an inordinate amount. You understand where I'm going with that. And they're the two teams that are kind of tragic heroes to me of the 25 football season. And that I don't know where when you look back and think, Mike, about if not for, is there a team that sticks out in your brain?
I mean, you will not acknowledge this team, but Detroit has been devastated by injuries. And you always make the horse comparison. When a horse is hurt, it races. When a horse is injured, they don't race it. In football, when you're hurt, you play. When you're injured, you play. I mean, these guys, I mean, yes, there are backups, but I mean, Detroit has been devastated. Tampa, I won't make an excuse for. I mean, they had injuries along the offensive line, but they've just been bad. Carolina, I mean, not Carolina. Arizona apparently has had the most injuries. I actually heard this on another podcast, but I don't think that they were doing anything. But you look at the two teams that you just referenced, and what is the common denominator? Great coaching. Everybody considers Kyle Shanahan to be a great coach. Jim Harbaugh has won literally everywhere he's ever been. He won at San Diego. He won at Stanford. He won at Michigan. He won at San Francisco. He won in San Diego. LA. San Diego has been losers you talk about a team without pedigree. That is a team that has no pedigree. They got cheap owners. They have the Greek owners that moved the team up. Won't even buy their own stadium. They share in revenues. They used to lose every close game. Now they win close games because they have a great coach. That's the thing that terrifies me about giving them 12.5 points, because Jim Harbaugh is that good of a coach. But I really think Trey Lance sucks that bad. But it's coaching. Coaching is, I don't care. Like, that Brady Belichick debate comes back to this. If you have a great coach and a great quarterback, you've got everything you need. You can work around anything else if you have those two things. And there are few and far between of those two combinations. And I'm not even saying like Purdy is necessarily a great quarterback, but with Shanahan, he's a great quarterback.
So we head into the playoffs next week. I've nothing's changed my view. I'll go with San Francisco versus Houston in the Super Bowl. Where do you sit now, Mike?
I am still Rams. I still think the Rams. I'm not like hung up on what they've done in the last 2 weeks. They kind of limped into the playoffs last year. I think McVay is a difference maker. I think the thing that scares me about San Francisco is not their offense. Their offense is awesome. Their defense, I mean, that wasn't a fluke what the Bears did. Bears went up and down the field on all game long. That was, I think it was, what was it? 7-7, 14-14, 21-21, 28, 35-35. It was insane. Like whoever had the ball last was going to score.
Right.
So, and both those teams' special teams scare me. Seattle has the best special teams. They have the shakiest quarterback. So I'm taking the Rams to make it. And then in the I want to stick with Denver, and it is not because I think Denver is any great shakes. The thing that scares me about Houston mainly is their defense is great. Can you get enough out of CJ Stroud? Because that game on Saturday, he looked good on 2 passes, and then he
went away. He
was a no-show. I mean, so that's what scares me. Yep. Their defense is great. And the pedigree of Ohio State quarterbacks is shorter than anything that you can ever say about Detroit.
Oh,
he is the pedigree. He is the only guy of any substance, and so that's what would scare me about them. So I'm taking the Broncos just because I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots, though. The Patriots, I know they're false deities to you, but I think they are. They are doing everything you want them to do. I'm going to be betting on combos of Rams against probably 4 teams in the NFC and the AFC, and hoping like the Jags or someone makes it so that it's a bigger payout. But I think it's the Rams personally, but I could see you can make a case for literally any team other than the NFC South.
Definitely.
Or the AFC North.
Definitely. All right, folks. We will see you next week here on Taking It to the Streets. It will be the beginning of the playoff run. We look forward to it. Have a happy new year. And we will see you next week here on Taking It to the Streets. Goodbye from St. Pete. And remember, folks, you're only as good as your last trade. So never too high, never too low, till we meet again.